Hi guys, hi everyone, Makashi Talks here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you know, I'm here to talk about my favorite interest ever, which is linguistics, or the study of language. In today's episode, I'll be touching on social linguistics, a definition, an example here and there maybe, social linguists, what they do, who they are, and my favorite word of the day. Well, let's get into it. Because I know you guys got places to be. I know. Anyways, social linguistics, guys, what is that all about? Well, social linguistics is the study of the relationship between language and society. Okay, it focuses on gender, age, class, or social class rather, and ethnicity. Okay, the people that study all of this, these people are called social linguists. That's me my whole life basically. That's me my whole life, because me my whole life I'm just been like, why are we talking like this? I didn't get it then, but I get it now. Because why? Social linguists. Social linguistics. Interesting, right? So social linguists, they study the relationship between how people use language and the environment that they're in, right? We all know, let's say when we get to a meeting, you take out your top-notch English, and I'm going to assume English because universal, right? You put your best foot forward, you speak in such a way where, as if you were chilling with your friends, they'd all be looking at you like, and then why are you speaking like that? What's going on? Like, what's going on? Well, social linguists, they study that whole relationship, right? And it's called style shifting, if I'm not mistaken. Style shifting, how to keep code switching as we know it, right? Like how to see, but hey man, didn't sound I sharp. Why? Because hang got magadi hong hong. You understand? So code switching, that's what social linguists study. I've been in a few scenarios myself, we all have been, where we have to switch it up a bit depending on where we are, whom we are with. Hey, the first example that I made, I think in my first video, Nikki worker, when you get to my friend, Kuspaza, as it used to be, my friend. How's English elaya? Hi, how are you today? Do you guys have, cool drink? And my friend, my friend, do you have cool drink there? Okay, how much? And then somebody get conversation. You know why? Because thing, in that setting, that's how you're going to speak. We all do it. We all do it. You get to school, and there too you have to put your best foot forward. Like, hi guys, how are you all doing? Yeah, this past weekend my family and I, ma, ma, you use the language in that setting, it's funny. You understand? That's suitable for that setting. Because how to di hong hong why babaka naratong go manyam tsere esa tlo mpolelisa hong hong ke bua le wena Setswana. Shem arameman uzamile really. But that's what I'm saying. That's what social linguists study, right? They study these social settings as men and women in these settings, why we use the kind of language. I mean, women, you know how they say, hey, women don't speak like that. Why do women not speak like that? Because if women had to use that language, then it would be like, oh, you're not that woman, Why? Then I want to know why. Why did Israel? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? That's because when we get to different settings or different social settings, we assimilate, right? jiggy jiggy was vendor, even though it's not your best vendor, just that one vendor word makes a difference, I was actually thinking of children that grow up Golokshin, townships, if I'm not, yeah, townships, right? As opposed to kids that grow up in the suburbs. Kids that grow up good township, they grow up to be more multilingual. I don't know if that's a thing, more multilingual than kids that grow up in the suburbs, because good township, everyone is from everywhere. Bale batswa Eastern Cape, bale batswa KwaZulu Natal, Northern Cape, bale babua Setswana. It's a whole lot of cultures in there, whole lot of languages. So yes, the kids there may not be fluent, speaking wise, but like they understand more languages than the kids who grow up in the suburbs. Well, also, this is very South African specific, because in South Africa there are 12 languages, It's a lot. I know we are a diverse country. We family, man. So more South Africa, this is specific to that, because so kids that grow up in the township, Zulus, Venda, whatever, as opposed to kids that grow up in the suburbs, grow up speaking English only, even though one time I went out, grabbed me a cup of coffee, and this girl is chilling with her mom and her friend. I think her friend was saying something Gaspedi, and the friend is like, "Yeah, you sound so weird when you speak Pedi." And I was like, Khofedile. Khofedile, right? Because what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Now, right, what social linguists should be studying is exactly this. Why do kids not code switch? Bana ba kajeko, they don't code switch. They just utella ko skolong, ko mmerekong, ko hae, ko eng. It's just, yeah guys, I'm fine. Yeah, so my parents and I this past weekend. Code switching kaisa dirahala as often as I do it. People before me, people around me, they don't do a lot of code switching. So social linguists should actually get into why Banabanga don't code switch as often or as much as we do. Because the language is their parents don't speak lebona. So why code switch? Because you hear the same language at school, you hear the same language at home, you hear the same language in your friendship circle. Why code switch, right? Why code switch? Because there's no need. So now I'm asking myself, so these kids, when they grow up, because then their social settings are the same. Oh, that's interesting. Now I just thought of that. Their social settings essentially that's why it's not like Asria, Kukasi, Oria, Mahayeng, because the deep rurals, they still speak one language. Yeah, they speak English, whatever, but like it's not as polluted as it is in the cities or in the suburbs, So they speak like one language, which would be your deep Zulu or your deep Pedi, your deep Setswana, Madam, what is that saying? Is this English or Afrikaans? And you ask yourself, how do you get by in different social settings? And you find that they don't get by, these people that can't code switch, right? you spend a lot of time with someone who speaks Zulu. You may not be able to speak Zulu, but when you're in like a setting, an environment where there are a lot of Zulu people, you will hoy a bit of Zulu, because why? You just want to let them know you're a friend and not a foe. I come in peace, I'm a friendly. I'm a friendly, you know? So social linguists actually have a lot on their hands, because now I'm sitting here thinking, it's a lot, man. Like, hey? Like, why women, if they speak like this in this setting, then it's deemed whoa, you know? Why? It's like, you know? And in that setting, you'd find and you're just like, wow, why? But then you go out and you're just like, oh, so I'm not the only one who thought those people were Rakan. But it's just because in that setting, interesting. Interesting, right? So social linguistics studies all of this. That is why Makashi, when she's at home, she speaks a certain way. But when she's with her friends, she speaks like this. See whatever, you know, just because they don't speak. You understand what I'm saying? When I'm at my grandmother's place, you know, they speak Afrikaans. It's a colored area. They speak Afrikaans. I hold my 2 cents there because I'm a friendly, guys. I'm not a foe. I got you guys. I can do this. You know, I can do this. So social linguistics is very interesting like that, because it is our everyday lives. Every day. Day to day. Right? I'm gonna get carried away, guys, like I always do. So let me stop right here, because I'm still going to dive deeper into this, because there's more to unpack. There's a lot to unpack. There's so much to learn, because now I'm sitting here thinking, damn, actually growing up, I more or less spoke 2 languages. But now I hear a couple more than I used to. Now I'm growing older, you know, hanging out with different people, different social group settings, and work, you know, you're like, okay, interesting. So I'm still going to dive deeper into this. Let me stop right here, give you the word of the day that I found to be interesting. Because remember that story that I told you guys about me watching a Malaysian movie? There's a word there, salamat, right? Which means thank you in Filipino or Tagalog. In Malay, it also means thank you. But then in Arabic, which seems to be the origin of the word, it means peace be with you, or safety. You know, like a peace, safety, happy type of, you know, term or definition to the word. It has nothing to do with thank you, right? The origin is peace, safety, and then it traveled, and then someone was like, no, I love it, but like, how about this way? Thank you, salamat, thank you. Hey, guys, let me wrap it up here. All I'm gonna say is thank you guys for tuning in, and take care, guys.